Michael, we talked about expectations from the perspective of Qatar as host and defending champions. Touching now on China, expectations. The question is, should we have any expectations at all?
I think we've learned over the years that one of the things to not have around Chinese football is anything positive, or any positive expectations whatsoever. Because if there's a nation that has, at best, flattered to deceive in recent years, it's China. In terms of, we have seen, during the last decade, periods where huge sums of money have been invested in the league and trying to develop players and bringing in foreign players and bringing in high profile, experienced, successful foreign coaches, whether that's at club level, whether that's at national team level with the likes of Marcello Lippi. We've seen it all, and we're kind of still at that level of being a bit of an also ran. And I see no reason why that will change. I think, to be fair to everybody involved with the team, and to be fair to Alexander Jankovic, the head coach, the COVID-19 restrictions that were put in place in China during the pandemic have had a major impact in terms of the lack of ability to play against top quality opposition on a regular basis, to be able to play games, particularly at home during that period, was not just virtually impossible. It was an impossibility during World Cup qualifying for 2022, for example. And I think Chinese football is still suffering a little bit of the hangover of that. I also think that Chinese football is still struggling from the lack of bringing a new crop of young players through that development stall that has happened maybe a decade or 15 years ago. In fact, maybe even as a continuing hangover from the black whistles controversy in the early 2000s, where the people of China basically lost faith in the game, and the game suffered a major PR blow and a reputational blow. And I think as a result of that, Chinese football is still suffering. Will it be different in 10 years' time? Maybe, because we'll maybe start to see some of the players who have been developed at these academies that have been set up as part of what was going on with organizations like Evergrande. We might see some of them starting to come through. We should be seeing some of them now, but it's not really being the case. If we look at the results that they've had recently, I mean, they had a decent win against Thailand in World Cup qualifying, then followed by a very comfortable win for South Korea in Shenzhen against the Chinese, also in those World Cup qualifiers, and then a defeat against Hong Kong in Abu Dhabi just the other day, which I think a lot of people have been reading a lot into that, and I don't actually think there's a lot to be read into it, because it was a glorified training game. It was behind closed doors. Yes, it was credited as an official A international, but look, I think because of the relationship between the two federations, because of Hong Kong's situation politically within China, I think a lot of people have made a lot of that. But it's a friendly match, and I don't know if there's really much to be made from it. That said, China, are they good enough to have an impact at the Asian Cup? I'd say no. Will they get through the group? I'd be very surprised if they didn't. But to make an impact at the sharp end of the competition, I'd be very surprised.